Hi, I wanted to take a little bit of time today to discuss the Psat Nmsqt, which is the test that our sophomores and juniors who signed up for it back in the fall, they took this test in October. They were able to get their online results in December. And this week I will be giving them back their test booklet and their paper score report. Please keep in mind that the paper score report that they will receive is not a full report, and it's best to go online to access the whole report because you can get a lot more information by accessing that online score report versus the one that I will be giving them this week. I've already posted in their Google Classroom a parent tutorial in both English and Spanish. I've also emailed that to the students. And then after I'm done videoing this, I'm going to be sending out this information that I'll be using this book a little bit today to read directly from in discussing what you're looking at with your child when they look at their score reports. This is Understanding Scores for 2019. This is for the Psat Nmsqt. There are different types of Psat tests. There's the Psat 8-9, the Psat 10, and then the Psat Nmsqt, National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test. If your child is a sophomore and he or she took the test in October, please know that your child is not eligible for the competition. You have to be a junior to be eligible for that. But I think it's great that your child took the test as a sophomore because it gives them a sneak peek into what the test looks like so that when they do take it next year as a junior, they have a little bit of an advantage because they know what to expect. Also, those students who took the PSAT, they have a unique access code that they can use to link to Khan Academy. Khan Academy will take their results from the PSAT and they will customize a plan of study. And for students who use this resource, and when I say use, I mean they really get in there and they take time to study, they take time to practice, they can raise their SAT scores anywhere from 100 to 130 points, which can be significant. So I strongly encourage students take advantage of that resource if you took the PSAT so that Khan Academy can customize that plan of study for you to help you in your areas of weakness, and also that you can continue to practice in your areas where you're already strong. What does the Psat Nmsqt measure? And I'm going to read directly from this book, so I apologize for looking down. But it measures the skills and knowledge that research shows are the most important for success in college and career. The reading test measures comprehension and reasoning skills and focuses on close reading of passages in a wide array of subject areas. The writing and language test measures a range of skills, including command of evidence, expression of ideas, and the use of standard English conventions in grammar and punctuation. The math test covers a range of math practices with an emphasis on problem solving, modeling, using tools strategically, and using algebraic structure. How is this test scored? Students receive a total score, and that is the sum of their evidence-based reading and writing section and their math section. To calculate section scores, College Board computes the student's raw score. The raw score is the number of questions that the student correctly answered for each section. Please keep in mind nothing is deducted for incorrect answers, or if your child skipped a question, that is not counted against them. Next, College Board converts each of the raw math scores to a scaled section score of 160 to 760. They also convert each of the raw reading scores and the raw writing and language scores to scaled test scores of 8 to 38, and then they combine those together to produce the evidence-based reading and writing section score of 160 to 760. This conversion process adjusts for slight differences in difficulty among versions of the test, and it provides a score that is consistent across different versions. The scaled scores are the scores that are provided on the score report. And that was on page 1 of the guide, Understanding Scores. I'm now going to switch over because you'll get some information about the benchmarks. What do the benchmark scores mean? The college and career readiness benchmarks for current SAT, and remember the PSAT is the test that ideally you take before taking the SAT, but the benchmarks for the current SAT predict a 75% likelihood of achieving a C or higher in related first semester credit-bearing college courses. So if your child's score falls within the green area, that means they met or they exceeded the benchmark. If they did not score in the green section, let's say your child was in the yellow section, that means that they are within 1 year's growth of being where they need to be. Students who have a score indicating more than a year's growth below the grade level benchmark will have a score in the red area. Please keep in mind if your child is in the yellow or red, that doesn't mean that they're not college material. It simply means they're not where they need to be right now. They need to be taking challenging courses. They need to be pushing themselves. They need to put their foot on the gas. They are certainly still capable of being successful in college, but they need to be working really hard now to catch up on the skills that they're behind in, which once again, if he or she took this test, there will be an access code where they can connect to Khan Academy and get some customized practice. That information that I just read about the benchmarks was found on page 5 of this guide. Percentile scores, which will show up on the score report. A student's percentile rank represents the percentage of students who score equal to or lower than your child's score. For example, if your child scored in the 75th percentile, 75% of a comparison group achieved scores at or below that particular score. Now, when you're looking at your child's percentile ranks, keep in mind if your child is a sophomore, he or she was being compared to other sophomores nationally. If your child is a junior, he or she was compared to other juniors nationally. Also on the score report, there will be a selection index score. The selection index score, if it has an asterisk next to it, that indicates that your child's not eligible for the competition. That would be for our sophomores. Juniors, you won't have an asterisk next to your selection index scores. The selection index score is reported on a scale ranging from 48 to 228. The selection index score is calculated by doubling the sum of the reading, writing, and language and math test scores. So for example, if your child had a reading score of 23, a writing and language score of 20, and a math score of 26.5, those get added together and doubled to see what the selection index score is. NMSC uses the selection index score to designate groups of students to receive recognition in the National Merit Scholarship Program. Entry to the NMSC's competition for scholarships to be offered in 2021, so if your child's a junior, they would be going to college in 2021. It is determined by your students' responses to the 2019 Psat Nmsqt scores. Currently, about 1.6 million test takers meet the requirements to enter the NMSC's competition each year. Almost all entrants are in their third year or their junior year of high school. Of the 1.6 million NMSC program entrants, about 50,000 will earn 2019 Psat Nmsqt scores high enough to qualify them for recognition. As you can see, it's a very stiff competition. These students will be notified of their standing in September of 2020. Students who qualify to continue in the competition for scholarships to be offered in 2021 must then meet academic and other requirements specified by NMSC to be considered for awards. For a detailed description of the National Merit Scholarship Program, you can visit www.nationalmerit.org. That information came from page 10 of this guide, Understanding Scores. Moving on, I have a score report in here for I'm a B student. And so in looking at I'm a B student, you'll be able to take what I'm talking about on her score report and look at your child's score report to interpret the information. So on the front page of your child's score report, it will look like this. And you're going to see it has your child's name, the school's name, what our school code is, the grade of your child, your access code. That's the code that will be needed to link to Khan Academy, and it also has their College Board ID number, and so that's on the front page of the score report. Looking at the second page of the score report, and I'm going to use Ima's information, she scored a total of 960. So remember, that's combining the evidence-based reading and writing and the math score. On her evidence-based reading and writing, she scored a 430. You're going to notice that there is a yellow exclamation point there. That means that her score shows that she's almost on track to be ready for college, but she needs to keep building her skills. Had she have been in the red, remember a few minutes ago we talked about that means that your child is more than a year's growth behind where he or she needs to be. So Ima is not quite where she needs to be on the reading and evidence-based writing portion of this particular test. Her math score was a 530. And that score shows that she's currently on track to be ready for college. That does not mean, though, that she needs to let her foot off the gas pedal. She needs to continue to take challenging courses and continue to grow in her math skills. You will notice that it will show her total. She was in the 51st percentile. And then it broke it down in the evidence-based reading and writing. She was in the 31st percentile, whereas in the math, she was in the 69th percentile. So she scored at or above 51% of other students her age where the total's concerned. She was 31st percentile where the evidence-based reading and writing was. So she scored at or above 31% of other students her age in the evidence-based reading and writing, and she was in the 69th percentile for the math score. Now, right here on the score report, these are the scores that will get added together and then doubled to produce the selection index score. The selection index score is on the next page. It's in the second column here. I would strongly encourage you to read the left-hand column. It will talk about scholarship opportunities, the free Khan Academy, SAT prep, and it will also remind them to register to take the SAT, which I advise that they take the SAT in the spring of their junior year, after they've gotten these results back and after they've spent some time on Khan Academy practicing, getting stronger in those areas that they're weak. Go ahead and take that SAT in the spring of junior year. That way it gives you time if you need to retake it later in the spring or at the beginning of the fall. The National Merit Scholarship Index Selection Score is right here. She scored a 139. You're going to see here it says, yes, she's eligible for the competition. She would be going to college in 2021, and her total years in school would be 4 years, which is what we expect for most students, that they'll finish high school in 4 years. It also gives you a website that you can go to for additional information. Also on the score report, it's going to have a page that shows all of the different questions, the answers, the correct answers, the answer that your child gave, and if your child gave an incorrect answer, it will tell them what the correct answer was, and it will also give them the level of difficulty. They do get their test booklet back. I would strongly encourage them on the questions that they missed to go in, look at those questions, see why they missed the question. On the online score reports, remember I said it would give you additional information. It will actually go through and explain why an answer is the correct answer. So I really hope students will take the score report that I'm giving them, and as we go over it, if they have questions, they can certainly ask me those questions. If I don't know the answer, I'll try to find the answer. But the big thing is for them to go online to their online score report, where it will give them even more information that they can use to hopefully get them better prepared to take the PSAT Nmsqt next year if they're sophomores, and they'll be juniors when the competition, when they're eligible for it. If they're already juniors, we want them to go ahead and be linking to Khan Academy, sophomores as well, be taking advantage of that practice that they have available to them. Remember, I will be posting this in Google Classroom, and there's a lot more information in this book that you will have access to. Please ask your child to get in their Google Classroom and give you this information, or I'm also going to email it. If they don't, you can always email me and request it. My email is hope.bearden@earlyisd.net. Thank you. I hope this information was helpful to you, and I will be going over this in more detail with your child this week. Thank you and have a great day.